happy Monday to you and your loved ones. Thank you so much for tuning in to This Is the Day, live on Family TV, also live on Family Radio, where the music does the talking. My name is Sarah Otieno. The WhatsApp number that you can use to contact us from is 0786 316 316, SMS line 20316. Now, today we will be talking about different stories and actually looking at some of the parents that are homeschooling their children and the advice they can give to parents right now as this period of staying home has been extended by the CS for Education. Amongst other stories, we'll also be looking at the situation in the UK. But for now, let us look at the global statistics and where the world stands when it comes to the coronavirus cases. Now, totally, as it is today, right now, the total confirmed cases stand at 3,016,845 cases, and the number of deaths are 207,978. We also have recovered cases, and I always say it is a blessing because the recovered cases are more than the number of deaths that have been recorded across the globe, and the recorded cases, the recovered that is, are 888,634. Now, let us look at some of the top countries that have recorded the highest cases. And we'll start with the new cases. The highest has been recorded in Russia, where they have 6,196 new cases in the last 24 hours, followed by Spain with 2,793 cases. And also in the USA, we have 1,772 new cases in the last 24 hours, followed closely by Saudi Arabia with 1,289 new cases. Let us look at the number of deaths. And today, Spain is topping the list with 331 new deaths that have been recorded in the last 24 hours. We also have Belgium with 113 cases, and we have Iran with 96. And in the top four, we have Sweden with 80, but it is important also to note that the US is now at position 5 with new deaths of 49 cases in the last 24 hours. Now, worldwide, we have the new deaths that have been reported today in the last 24 hours at 1,066. Now, that is just what has been happening globally. Now, let us look at our country, Kenya. And the COVID cases has hit 363 after 8 more cases were confirmed in the last 24 hours. Now, 8 were also discharged after fully recovering from COVID-19, and now the number of recoveries rises to 114, and this is what the CS for Health Mutahi Kagwe had to say.
At this point, that we now in this country have some 363 positive cases in Kenya, having today confirmed some 8 new cases. And these 8 new cases come equally from Nairobi and Mombasa, because we have got 4 from Mombasa, and you can see now Mombasa is becoming a concern. All of them are Kenyans. All of them are Kenyans. Before it used to be people have traveled elsewhere, but these ones are all Kenyans. But we are also happy because through the work of the very diligent health workers, we have now also discharged some 8 people today, bringing the total of those who have recovered to 114.
Well, that has been the CS for Health, Mutahi Kagwe, and he says the government is now looking to reopen the restaurants, but strict rules will be put in place, and he says the bars will remain closed. Now, anybody walking into a restaurant should have a mask, sanitize their hands, and if your staff are not tested, then you will not be able to open up your restaurant. Listen.
Restaurants will operate between 5 and 4 p.m., not later than that, because after that, then it becomes difficult to for the people to get home, just for curfew. But at least within that period, a lot of people were not able to go for lunch places near them can be able to do so. There are people who work in those restaurants, they can be able to do so. But of course, for them to do that, we also have asked that those restaurants that are going to open for this purpose must limit the number of persons who are going to be in the restaurant so that they can be able to keep the social distances that we have recommended. They can be able to keep at least 4 people for 10 square meters. The tables within the dining areas must be spaced at least 1.5 meters apart from each other, and customer sitting must also maintain the social distancing that is required.
Well, that is a clear directive from the CS of Health, Mutahi Kagwe, and representing the government, of course, when it comes to that. Remember, after the break, we'll be talking to a couple of parents who have been homeschooling their children, telling us how it is, and especially right now, that the government is heading that direction with an extension of the days that the children will be staying home. Okay, now let us talk about the school extension. Now, schooling will not resume for a month after the May 4th, when they were supposed to resume and reopen, and that is according to the Education Cabinet Secretary George Magoha, who announced it yesterday. And he was speaking at Afia House, and he said April will be treated as a normal break in the education calendar. Now, as children remain home, there will be intervention based on how the government handles COVID-19. This is what the CS said.
In the interest of the safety and lives of our children, our beloved children, the government has decided to extend school closure for 1 month, effective from the date of opening. Will have been given the opportunity to cover whatever time that is lost before the said examination is administered. At this point that I'm speaking to you, the government has not decided to postpone both the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education and the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education.
Now, this announcement, although it was expected, it has caused more distress to some parents who are struggling to homeschool their children. Now, most parents have no idea how to do it. And earlier on, I was joined by one Grace Mutunga, Wanjiku Kanjotu, and also Enoch Mohol. And they explained how to effectively ensure that your child's education is not adversely affected during this period. This is an interesting conversation. Listen in. Thank you so much, Grace, Mr. Enoch, and Wanjiku, for tuning in and also staying in the line for us today. We want to understand more about the issue of homeschooling, and we'll start with Mr. Enoch. I understand that you are a pioneer when it comes to homeschooling. So when did you start homeschooling your children?
Thank you for having me. My name is Enoch Mohol. I'm not sure how you define a pioneer, but homeschooling for over 20 years.
Wow.
So that's how long we have been on the journey. Our firstborn son that we started with just graduated from university last year.
So you have been homeschooling until the university. When he's still in university, it was still homeschooling, or he had to join a college?
He was actually at Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture.
All right, and right now with the current state, and Grace and Wanjiku, and I'll start with you, Grace. And the current now state of the nation, and the Ministry of Education has actually said that it is extending the period at which children will be staying with their parents at home.
No options.
And you've been doing that for your primary kids for quite some time now?
This is our 3rd year in homeschool, with our eldest being 10 years now. And our youngest enrolled in homeschool 6 years.
Wow, that's very encouraging. So is there a special breed of parents who can do this, or does it cut across any kind of parent, any kind of pupils and students?
One of the first pieces of advice we were given by Mr. Mohol's wife, and we were not yet even ready to homeschool then, in terms of enrolling for homeschool. But one of the general pieces of advice from his wife, Miss Violet, is that the day you became parent, you became your child's trainer. You became your child's primary teacher. Not primary school, as in you are on the forefront, your child's trainer.
Okay.
So then we understood with my husband that we have the mechanism within us, and it's in scripture, Proverbs 22 verse 6, to train up our children in the way they should go. We should be involved as much as possible, even if we have children going to schools away from home.
Yeah,
it's still a part of the parents' responsibility to still be involved in a lot of training.
Wow, I like that basis, you know. And let me talk to Wanjiku for a moment. Now, Wanjiku, you've also been doing this, and
yes, we have.
And people
doing this for the last 6 years.
Oh, wow, 6 years.
Of course, not 20 years of
like
Mr.
Mahon.
But they have been good mentors.
Yeah, that's really nice. So what about the mental state of a parent? We've had some complaints, parents complaining that, let them go back to school, you know, and it takes in my opinion, it takes a very strong mental state for actually a parent to do this.
That's true, and I totally understand where they're coming from. We've actually been calling this emergency homeschooling. You didn't sign up for it, you were not prepared for it, but you found yourself in a space where you must educate your children. And it's not easy. It's not easy because you're used to taking them to school and someone else thinks through the process of teaching, what to teach or how to teach. Now you have to come back and do this. However, I like what Grace said, and I was thinking about it this morning, is that before your child goes to school, they know how to read, they know their colors, they know how to speak, they have serious vocabulary, they even shock you. And why is this? Because you have already been teaching them. So I guess it's a shifting mindset and saying, I was able to teach them how to talk and some vocabulary, now I need to take it back and do it from,
Okay, I understand. And Mr. Mohol, let's talk kidogo. What's the procedure of doing this? You know, some parents may be having it hard and a really tough time because they do not know how to do it. So kindly, in a nutshell, please just tell us the procedure of homeschooling. Is there a timetable, like in schools?
There is a timetable and very clear structure to follow. If you work with Oaks Academy, that is the umbrella organization under which we are a community of homeschoolers, and we recognize the fact that even if a child or a parent chooses to homeschool, the child still needs to have learning. In other words, you're not just saying you're at home and there's nothing going on. They need to be that learning. It needs to be structured in a way that that child is not disadvantaged just because they are at home. Actually have a structure where they have terms, so you don't just walk about on a day-to-day basis, but also we have terms, and we close just like any normal school closes. We have opening. So for us, we are on holiday really right now. When they were closing the schools, we were just our school. So we continue until we formally close. So because we are at home, so the closure of schools will not affect the homeschoolers because they just worked as they work and then they closed. So they are on holiday now. So basically right now, they are busy doing the reports for last term and submitting those. And then they are ready to start next term, which is in next week. And they'll be rolling again and just moving on like we normally do. I think a lot of credit goes to my wife. She's actually the principal of Oaks Academy.
Wow.
She's not I'm gaining the limelight, but she is the one actually who gets the credit for what she has been doing with the homeschoolers.
Wow, that's really nice. And as Grace, and I'm sure Wanjiku would agree, I want you, Grace, to tell me. So Mr. Muhol has actually pointed out that there is a timetable, there is a structure, and you guys even go for holidays and break during holidays, you know. So is there playtime? And this is curious. Some parents would say, now that we are homeschooling, it's books, 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 and no play. Do you guys have playtime, especially for the primary kids?
Yes, we do. We have a schedule that allows breaks because we can't learn the whole day.
Yeah.
We also have time, to allow learning of life skills. For example, cooking for those who are of age.
Yes.
Cleaning, laundry. Organizing a space. Probably we've taught them how to spread their bed well, but they still don't get the corners right. So then you schedule a day or a time to get it done right, and train it again. And some of these things are repeated for a month or 2 or 3 until they become some habits with some form of excellence in them. So we do just don't learn the whole day because there are things that are learned that need to be put into practice. And during that practice, we also polish up the language skills we have learned in class. How we express ourselves one to another. So we have break time, we have lunch time, we have home time. Sometimes we even have homework, the work you didn't manage to, finish during the school time. So then it will be your work later on in the evening at some point, probably after dinner or, if you're old enough to work at night when everyone is asleep. For those who maybe are preteens who are able to, or teenagers, then they can do that.
All right.
So we do have that, and we have holidays.
Wow.
We break for holiday.
All right. I want you to break it down for us. A typical day, a normal school day for you and your kids. Just quickly to how does it look like having a normal school day?
So breakfast would be at between 7:30 and 8:30. And then we would, and during that time, I will put devotion in there. So as we are having breakfast, we are also having a bit of Bible study.
Yeah.
And prayer time. And then when we break away from there, we have about 30 minutes of cleaning up. So where we brush our teeth, and if you didn't wind up on your room, we call it LAO, L-A-O, light, air, and order your room. So we have 30 minutes of all that, tidying up, cleaning up, and, getting ready. And then we start our classes by 9, very latest 9:15. Now, the older ones are able to be in by 9.
Yeah.
The younger one will probably start at 9:30, the 6-year-old. And then we have the younger ones who will be engaged in, so we have help right now during this season. But even when it was the previous season, pre-COVID, we would have help, and she would take care of the younger ones. She would engage them in activities. Then at 11 o'clock, we all take a break.
Okay.
For an hour. So we meet back at 11 up till 1:15. And then we take a lunch break till 2:15. If you haven't finished your work, then you go back in the afternoon.
Wow.
But the 6-year-old has finished his work, so he doesn't have afternoon class.
Wow, that's really nice to hear from you guys. And let me talk to Wanjiku kidogo, and how do you juggle between your own work, being a tutor for these kids, being a teacher actually, and at the same time, if you are employed, your work, you have to be there for your employer and also be there for your kids as their teacher.
Well, I don't know how. I'm really sympathetic for those who are having to do that. I don't have to do that, though I do have work and school that I do for my personal growth. And the thing that I've found helpful is that I'm up before anyone else. So I'm up at 5. I'll have my own devotions, do my exercises, and then sit down and do my work and also plan for the school day.
Yes.
So that by the time the kids are getting up, I'm not frazzled. And I can't say this is every day, but most of the time, this is what I'll do. So by the time they're getting up, I'm kind of ready for them. I have things organized and in order. I've kind of put my work, put in time to what I need to accomplish. And then we start our school. And so, if I'm thinking of the season that we are in, maybe talking to parents who are having to juggle work and school, I would say then your role would be to make them independent.
Wow.
This is only workable for those who are older. So our my oldest is 12. She's able to set her own goals, and kind of she's able to decide. I mean, sometimes she'll even say, today I want to do more, so I'll wake up earlier at 6, and she'll sit down and do her work. And then she's able to finish earlier. The thing about homeschooling, and what we are now calling homeschooling, is the work can end. You're teaching one child. So if it's that one child, what you would do in a class session, maybe in a 40-minute class, would probably happen in 20-30 minutes. Or less. So you can literally finish your school day earlier. The other option is you're home anyway. So how about doing your work and then coming back? And in the evening, school can happen. We call our life school, so it never stops. Learning never stops. There are days we'll do school at night. There are days we'll wake up at 6 a.m. and put in school time, and we're done by 10 and can go and do an activity outside. So you're not limited to an 8 to 5 day. And I think COVID has given us that opportunity to have all the time in our hands, meaning the days can be different. Today we can do school at night, and the whole day we can actually rest.
Wow, I like that.
We can learn how to cook. We can learn how to clean. We can, learn a life skill that you never have time for when you're in school the whole day.
Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today in this discussion. Wanjiku, Mr. Muhol, and Grace, asanteni sana, and keep being good parents.
Thank you, Sarah, for having us.
All right, good.
Thank you for having us.
Good evening to you too. Bye.
Good evening.
Okay, bye.
Well, that is just some of the parents that are homeschooling their children. And as per what they're saying, it is not that hard. Well, we have people who've responded to that. And we have Lynette. Lynette, thank you so much for tuning in today. You're saying, Happy New Week. Homeschooling is tough. It's you against what the teacher said. Asante sana for tuning in today. Also, Jared Odhiambo and Frederick Owino all the way from Kisumu. Asante sana for tuning in today. Calvin Warongai, PN Kuona. The WhatsApp number that you can always use to contact us from is 0786 316 316. SMS line 20316. Now, the economy has been shrinking, and one of the things that has become a common denominator in most homes and businesses is the decreasing income. Now, this has forced many companies in the country to lay off some of their employees. Now, the tough condition that both the employer and the employee are going through has seen many people feeling hopeless and in some cases blaming God for what they're going through. Here's a story of a couple by the name Bruce and Sharon who went through a very tough time financially when the business started to go down. Bruce started complaining that God was the one to blame about the situation, but God had an answer, something that I think stands for us even today.
The first job that we ever had is BG Construction. It was only a $250 job.
Bruce and I were both young and we had children, and it was week to week, to make, to pay our bills, to buy groceries.
And all I knew was that there were 7 days in a week, 24 hours in a day, and I had to work because I had 3 daughters at the time, and we had to make it happen. Whatever we had in the week, we gave some of that. We gave some of that. And God just continued to bless us, and it began to grow. We went to $1,000 jobs, $5,000 jobs, and they kept getting bigger and bigger. And then I started fussing at God. You know, I was kind of like, God, we should have got that thing. You know, we did this and this and this. And then God just spoke to me just like that. He said, you need to realize that I'm your source, not all these contractors that you bid to. And that's when this peace just came over me.
We knew that God had just removed that striving that, you know, it's up to us to make it happen, but that he was going to bring us through.
The more we were blessed, the more we gave. They go overseas with all the stuff that they do. It's an outreach I can't go do personally, but I can help finance for other people to go. I would tell people that he hasn't done anything for Sharon and I that he can't do for them. But you've got to be willing to step out on faith. You've got to trust him. And you got to sow seed.
If you just start with a small amount and start giving, you'll see how it changes your life.
Well, the message that we are getting clearly from Bruce and Sharon is giving, 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 and that way you will receive. That is just a message of hope, and for that reason I want to thank you so much for always being a partner and for always supporting us in any way that you can. Please continue supporting us in the same way, because you are the reason that we are here today. Now, because of that and the tough economy, what can we do to make ends meet? Are there some new opportunities that one can start during this time to ensure some income and some flow of cash? We talked to Stella Chepngeno. She's a financial advisor, and she explained on some of these opportunities that we can take up right now. Good evening, Stella. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for joining the conversation today.
Okay.
So right now, the economy of our country, and we can say globally, it's not very stable. It's quite shaky.
Yes, yes.
And with a lot of people losing their income, some unfortunately even losing their jobs.
Yes.
It is quite important that we make sure that we have financial restrictions, right?
A lot of financial restrictions.
Yeah. And now from your point of view as a financial advisor, what are some of the opportunities that we can grab during this time to make an extra few coins, even as people are staying home?
Okay, what I would say is very fast is that people need to accept the verdict. Mm-hmm. And move on, you know, like they're not supposed to dwell on the negative energy.
Okay.
They're not supposed to dwell crying about the loss of the job, because there's no time for you to be able to do that. What they need to do immediately is to do a time audit. Mm-hmm. So they need to do a time audit and a skills audit.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean?
What time do I have available? By time skills audit.
Time and skills audit. Kindly define it.
Yeah. What I mean is you need to sit down and ask yourself, how much time do I have that I am free? Mm-hmm. Because I know some of the people are working from home, but I'm very sure you're not working from 8 to 5.
Yes.
There's a lot of time, free time around. So that is what I'm talking about, time audit. Look at the 24 hours. Mm-hmm. How many times are you free, and how many hours are you free, and how many hours are you working?
Okay.
Or are you doing other things? That is the first we need to do. Mm-hmm. When it comes to the skills, we are looking at what is it that I can use right now, that I have, that I can use right now to make more money. Mm-hmm. For example, what is it that you can do online? We have people who have skills in graphic design.
Yes.
They can be able to engage people, then they work some graphics for them. Mm-hmm. They can be able to do websites for people. Mm-hmm. So you are doing an audit of your skill to be able to look at what is it that I can do right now, limited resources have.
Okay.
So you can also look at, people have skills like cooking skills. Mm-hmm. They have baking skills. Can they utilize those skills right now?
Yes.
And ensure that they use it to be able to make more money. So right now is the time to look within. What is it that you have within you, and be able to use that to make money. People are going online to train people. There are people who are looking for trainers who can train online.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have skills, then you in a certain area, then you can also earn money by training.
All right. So if I'm getting...
If you are good at...
Sorry.
If you are good at selling, you can do online selling.
All right.
You can do online selling as well.
All right. We're having a trouble.
If you are good at writing, yeah.
We're having a problem with the connection, Kidogo, but just quickly,
if you're good at...
before I let you go, Stella.
Yes.
You have talked majorly on the issue of training and the use of online and using what we have.
Yes.
Does this cut across despite your career and your specialty? Does it cut across?
Yes, it cuts across. You see, in as much as maybe I am at, apart from what I do on a daily basis, there is a talent that I have as an individual. And that's what we are saying. Why can't you look within yourself first before we even think of other things and look at what can I do without necessarily having to incur a cost?
Okay.
Like we've seen people doing affiliate marketing. That does not, it just requires you to have bundles. And you market somebody else's business or you market somebody else's products.
Yes.
So that doesn't require you to have any money. So as long as you can get online, like I'm online right now, and I have the selling skills, so you can be able to do that. But if you feel like the online ones are not working for you, we still have the things that you can be able to do. Skills like baking, you know, can you be able to bake fresh bread and fresh cakes and sell even within the area that you are in? Can you be able to do deliveries, for example?
Yeah.
For people who don't want to get out completely, can you offer that service of delivery? Delivery, going to the market or going to the supermarket, shopping for them and bringing for them to the house.
Wow. So basically, any service that you can provide right now, it's good to go for it.
You provide. Yeah, see what is... People have moved. I've seen people doing sanitizers, selling sanitizers. I've seen people selling what you call the masks. So get out of your comfort zone. This is not the time to say what will people say. You know, I know there are people who are like, what will people say? This is not the time to talk about that.
Yes,
it's the time to look at what can I do to bring food on the table. So my advice is get out of the comfort zone. See how you can ensure that you do whatever you can in your capacity right now.
Yeah.
The other thing is ensure that you have cut all your costs to the minimum because you are not going out. That money that used to go out, you know, that is savings that you can keep for tomorrow and another day. So I'm very sure some of our budgets have really come down because if you used to go for entertainment and you spend maybe 5,000 per week, then that money you are saving it now.
Okay.
Transport money, we are saving it now. So what are you doing with that money?
Yeah.
So if you are still, again, there's a danger of people because of idleness, they start shopping online. Instead of cooking in the house, they start ordering food from outside.
Yes.
So those are the dangers that we need to work on and work within what can be able, because we do not know how far COVID will take us.
Yes.
We don't know whether it is another 3 months, another 4 months. So the very reason why we need to ensure that everything is in order and we need to ensure that we get out of our comfort zone. Let us do whatever we can be able to do to bring food on the table, and especially those people who have lost their jobs.
Yes.
Those are the people that I'm addressing right now. Don't look at, I used to be an accountant, now I cannot be able to do this. No, if you can be able to do it, just do it for now to ensure that at least you bring food on the table, because it can get really tough if you are not prepared for that. If you didn't have an emergency account, it can really get very tough to be able to get yourself on food. And so you need to also take care of this emergency fund because we do not know how long this will take.
All right.
So do whatever you can be able to do to be able to get to the next level.
All
That's
right.
my advice. Yeah.
Very informative advice there from Stella. Stella, asante sana for joining this and for educating us on how we can be able to budget and make use of that opportunity that is on the table right now.
Yes, in fact, some people, let me just say, some people will come out of this COVID having made a lot of money.
Wow.
If they just focus on the positives, not the negatives that I've lost my job. Let your energies be a positive energy, not negative energy. And that way you'll be able to succeed.
Wow. Thank you so much, my dear, and have a beautiful evening.
You too. Thank you. God bless you.
You too.
All right. Okay, thank you.
And do not focus on the negative energy. Instead, direct that to the positive vibe that you have. That is the parting shot from Stella Ray. And we have Alice tuned in from Machakos. Asante sana, my dear, for tuning in today. And you're saying, in rural areas, parents educating their children is a big challenge. I think some caretakers have got some sources of labor for household chores. Changing the mindset that teaching is done by teachers in schools might be an uphill. Not on one-off event. Being in rural area, I have noticed this after talking to some of them. Thank you so much for tuning in and for your response and your thought on the issue of homeschooling. We also have Maurice Otunga. Thank you for tuning in. We have Mr. Vincent. Asante sana for your message. It has been well received. Esi Kimenyi is saying homeschooling plus business idea. That one is for the near future. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Now let's go all the way to the UK. And the UK is beginning that is to turn the tide in the fight against coronavirus. But this is not the time to relax the nationwide lockdown. Those are the words of Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister for UK. Now he was speaking as he is back after testing negative of the COVID-19. And the Prime Minister says easing off would be a throwaway for the efforts and the sacrifice of the British people and to risk a second major outbreak of the coronavirus.
And so I know it is tough, and I want to get this economy moving as fast as I can, but I refuse to throw away all the effort and the sacrifice of the British people and to risk a second major outbreak and huge loss of life and the overwhelming of the NHS. And I ask you to contain your impatience because I believe we are coming now to the end of the first phase of this conflict. And in spite of all the suffering, we have so nearly succeeded.
Well, that has been the UK Prime Minister cautioning that relaxing will only be a red flag. Now, we spoke to one of my friends and sisters from the UK, and she was explaining to us how the situation is in the UK right now. Look at this.
Hi Sarah, so the current situation in the UK right now is quarantine on everything. At the moment we are only allowed to go out once or twice if it's necessary. All hospitals, restaurants, churches, mosques, everything is shut. Businesses are closed. A few restaurants are doing food deliveries and people have just been instructed to stay at home, as simple as that. And as I can see while walking around, is most people are following it, and we just hope for the best. And currently the government is trying to support small businesses and big businesses with the financial support so that they can be able to cope during this crisis, and hopefully people will be able to come out of it strong. Yeah, so that's the current situation. All the streets are empty. People are staying at home unless they have to do the most important things. This is normally one of the most vibrant streets, and at the moment you can see there's nothing really. Everything is closed, and yeah, all businesses are hoping for the best. Everything is closed. Nobody is walking in the streets. All these are restaurants and food joints, but no life at the moment here. Yeah. So that's the kind of signs that are in the shops. current situation in the UK in regards to children, they're getting homeschooled by the parents at home. They've been allocated specific assignments during the duration of the quarantine. And as things are very digital in the UK, they all have access to the internet, they have access to digital learning, and parents are being told on how to facilitate that. In instances where the children's parents are still working in the healthcare system or in any other essential area, the children are being taken to school, and there's teachers who are helping with that situation. And anybody who's found not following the rules at the moment, they are being charged a fine. So people are taking precaution, they are staying at home, they are just being responsible because they understand the situation and they understand that the rules are put to help them. So that's what is happening.
Well, that is the situation in the UK, but above all, we will always insist on one thing. There is hope at the end of the tunnel. And just before I leave this studio, I want us to go back to the numbers that we shared earlier on as we started the show. Now, these are the number of cases that were reported when we were starting the show. Let us focus on the recovered cases. We had 888,634. That is just about an hour ago. And right now, as we are speaking, right now the recovered cases have increased to 889,928. Do the math. You will see that this is close to about 1,000 cases that have recovered in the last 1 hour globally. Let me tell you, my friends, this is good news. And initially in our country, we also had recovered cases, and today we are counting up to 114 recovered cases. Only one news and one information that is passed across by these numbers. There is hope at the end of this very dark tunnel. Thank you so much for tuning in to This Is The Day. My name is Sarah Otieno, and before I leave, Whitney from Busia, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow. Stay safe, and God bless you.